Year 1. It is Tuesday, the 26th of January, and we're going to be looking at our reading skills now. So let's jump straight back into the wonderful text that we're looking at, which is Where the Wild Things Are. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen, and it tells you that today we're going to be looking at inference and explanation. So there's a couple of quick questions on the board there. Do you know what infer means? Just remind the person at home, and there's our little reading snake just to remind you. And can you remember, sorry, what explain means? And there's our reading snake there. Pause the video, just have a little chat with the person at home. What does infer mean? What does explain mean? Remind each other. Okay, excellent. So infer is where we are our detectives. You can see the little magnifying glass there, and that is where you are searching for the lovely clues. And our explain is where you're using your microphone and you are talking us through your answer and what you think. Now, we've been reading a lovely, lovely piece in the book. We've got up to where Max has sailed to where the wild things are. We've just met the wild things. Okay, so let's just remind ourselves. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars. Give me a roar. And gnashed their terrible teeth. We looked at that word gnashed yesterday, didn't we? And rolled their terrible eyes. See if you can write your eyes. I don't know if I'm doing a very good job. Let me know. And showed their terrible claws. Show me your claws, everyone. Excellent. So before we were asked to look at the vocabulary, and we were asked to look at terrible, and we focused in on that word, and we were coming up with better alternatives. So just remind me of some of the alternatives that you came up with for the word terrible. So instead of terrible roars, what could we have? That's it. Yeah, better adjectives like scary, loud, piercing roars. Ooh. Fantastic. Instead of terrible teeth, what could we have? Yeah, we could have pointy teeth. Look at them. They're quite spaced out, aren't they? Spaced out pointy teeth. They look like they're sharp. Razor sharp teeth. I love it. Instead of rolled their terrible eyes, how could we describe their eyes? Take a look at them. How could we describe them? Fantastic. Yeah, they're bright yellow, aren't they? Ours aren't bright yellow. Okay, we've got white bits around our pupil, the bit in the middle. So there's a bright yellow. It's quite spooky eyes. And showed their terrible claws. Instead of terrible claws, what did you guys come up with? Yeah, long claws, long, sharp, pointy claws. All 3 adjectives in one. Excellent work, team. Okay, so that's just a quick reminder of some of the vocabulary. Now we're looking at another piece of vocabulary here. We're going to read these pages. We'll do a little bit of echo reading. So I'll take my turn, then it'll be your turn. Okay, so let's just read this last part. And they rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. My turn, till Max said, "Be still." Your turn. My turn. And tamed them with the magic trick. Your turn. Of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once. See if you can stare at the camera now without blinking. See how long you can go for. Oh my eyes. Oh, I blinked already. Oh no. See if you can do longer than me. And they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. So Max seems to have scared the monsters. I would have thought it'd be the other way around. If I met some monsters, I'd be pretty scared. Right, our keyword today, what does tamed mean? So let's find it in the text. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed, there it is, them with his magic trick. What do you think it means when something is tamed, when an animal is tamed? Remember, these animals are called wild things. Okay, what do you think it means when a wild thing is tamed? Yeah, okay, so fantastic idea. So when you tame something, it means you can kind of get it under control. So these wild things, they were roaring their terrible roars, they were rolling their terrible eyes, and they were showing their terrible claws and their terrible teeth, which is pretty scary, I would have thought. But Max has tamed them with his magic trick. He's controlled them. He's made them stop. He's calmed them down. He's made them listen. And now the wild things are saying they're frightened of him. They call Max, the most wild thing of all. This boy in a wolf suit. I know. So we're going to do some little infer questions now. What impression are we getting of Max now? So before, when we were looking, he was in his room and he's been quite naughty. So we were thinking he's a naughty, naughty boy. He was quite cheeky to his mum, wasn't he? He shouted, what did he shout at his mum? Yeah, he said to his mum, "I'll eat you up." I wouldn't say that to my mum. Okay, that's not a very nice thing to say. So he said, "I'll eat you up." Okay, so we're thinking he's quite cheeky, he's quite naughty. But what's our impression of Max now? Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's very brave. He's standing up in front of these monsters and he's not scared at all. He's quite adventurous. He's brave. I would not be brave like Max. I would be scared. If we look at his face in the boat, he's got that same similar grumpy face that he had when he was shut in his room for being naughty without any dinner. But I think he's looking at these monsters and he's like, "Oh, I'm not scared of you." He's not that impressed with the monsters, is he? Oh dear. Okay, the second question says, why do you think the wild things need to be tamed? Remember that word tamed, it means put under control. It needs to bring them under control. Why do you think those wild things need to be controlled? Excellent. That's some good inferring skills and some excellent explanation skills. You explained it to me. I think you're right. I think they need to be controlled because we don't know what they're capable of. They're monsters, aren't they? They look quite scary. They've got sharp claws. They've got sharp teeth. Okay, we don't know how they're going to react to Max. But luckily, Max has tamed them. He's got them under his control. And I wonder what will happen next now he has them under his control. Okay, we'll carry on looking at this lovely story tomorrow. Okay, and in tomorrow's lesson, we're going to be looking at our reading skill, retrieve. So remind yourself what that retrieve is, and there's our little reading snake for tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you tomorrow, team.